Yo, what's up, guys? Damnation-n-Hellfire here, along with Ross Crow, the two most dedicated pirates on Battle Pirates, because we're still here on Thanksgiving doing the show.
That's
First thing, I guess, is I want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving, and hope you're have either already stuffed yourself with your turkey and stuffing, or you're soon gonna stuff yourself with your turkey and stuffing. But I guess we're going to talk about the refactor and the bacon bit uh, thing that's going on and all kinds of different stuff. So where do you want to start at, Ross?
um, we could start in the bacon.
Okay. Let me get some. We're doing a really ghetto version tonight, guys, with it being the holiday and stuff. Neither one of us felt like doing a whole lot of prep time, so we're just going with the screen sharing in-game stuff. And we're just going to talk about stuff in the actual game on the actual screen, because that's just how it rolls sometimes. So let me open up the bacon store here. You want to talk about the targets first, or you want to talk about prizes first, or what do you want to do?
Yeah, we could go over the targets, I guess. The targets.
They suck. That's about. I think that covers that. I mean, like, so the 100 and the 102 are the same target that we had in the first skirmish raid. They've just we don't have half repair, and they've upped the damage. Is kind of like that's what I'm looking at anyway. Are you in agreement with that?
Yes. I mean, along the same lines. I actually hadn't talked to you about it before, though. Truly, before right now. So, in my thoughts were that the damage was a little higher than I'd seen the target like this before. So,
Yeah. And then you got of course, the mana core target, which they always did way too much damage in the first place anyway. And so I can probably squeeze two out of my tank, because I do the scatter version with the decoy tank and thing. So I can probably squeeze two out of my tank, and then I'm down for a while because I'm not spending any money on the event.
right. Yeah. What I was witnessing, I actually haven't hit anything with the mana core fleet because I chose to view someone uh, with it, and I just didn't see the points being worth the damage. So I chose to go with I did choose to go to the 102 route myself. But
Okay, so you're just farming a single target and not getting any set bonuses then.
correct.
Okay. Yeah, I wish I could do that, but that set bonus of as many points as it is for hitting the individual targets, it's hard to pass up on. You know.
No, I agree. It's a nice bonus. It's just it doesn't. It didn't. I don't know. It didn't work out.
I mean, it all depends on how much you need in the event too. You know.
Right.
Because if you're somebody who's really just going out for the two weapons and the three dreads, then you can easily get your points just by farming one target.
Yeah, good point. And truly, I would. So we're mentioning the targets are a little hard, and why I think it appears to the community that they're so hard, in fact, that they're really not that hard. But what happens is because this is just my thoughts. What I see is the hundreds do or for the razor tail and so forth, and then they chose to do a slower tier for a different fleet. Well, there's no opportunity for hitting down for those players. There's actual players, a lot of players in the game that don't have complete razor tails or have a razor tail fleet without the lead. Just missing little things, maybe a special, things like that. That those players hit down usually in target level, but they still participate in the same events that we do, while with their fleets just hitting a lower tier target. And this style is really hard on them. That's what I'm noticing. And
Yeah, I would definitely agree. And on top of that, not having half repair time for what is basically at this time a PvE raid is like that's a killer too. You know, because we always do these targets with half repair time on, and we're not having half repair time to do them this time, and that's pretty big kick in the balls.
And I think that's the shock factor for some people when they've hit these targets before, you know, and with their repair you know, so yeah, it's all playing in, but it is what it is. You know, they're not impossible targets. They don't kill your fleet. Well, if you have a full top fleet, so you know you can slow repair. That possibility is there.
Yeah. Okay, let's start talking about some of the prizes. The first thing is the tactical radiation dampener. I have it. I have it on my base. My honest assessment is waste of 60,000 points and 900 million of each resource as my personal assessment. Did you get it, Ross?
Yeah, I have it, and it's in place also. And when I was looking at it in theory, I liked many things that are about this new OP turret, however, or gun, or whatever you call this now. But there, you know, just one little special ability throws the whole thing to whack for me. So,
which is
it's always targeting the furthest enemy available.
Yeah, because at that point, somebody else they have to do is park one boat outside your channel, and then just hit you with the remaining 4 in the fleet. So I don't know. That's to me, it's not very good. I mean, it seemed like I was all impressed at first when I saw the 400,000 damage in like one salvo with a big ass splash and everything, and I'm like, wait a minute. We're dealing with ships that have 3.8 million health points. 400,000 is not really a whole lot when you look at it that way. Plus, you got to factor in for deflections and all that kind of stuff. Like, Toxic brought his dread out and sat it outside my base last night. He, like you can see, I had the gun here on my outpost, and he had brought his dread up right here and let it sit. And it was getting shot at by this outpost gun, and it really was not doing much of anything to the whole thing. So I have to say, not all that impressed by it. On an ironic side note, at the same time, I had this Axiom Gatling gun sitting right here, and it was also hitting his dread, and the Axiom was doing more damage to the dread than what the OP cannon was. So that tells you something right there. So at this point, my personal opinion, if you haven't got it, don't.
It's just a lot of points for the performance. Unless you have a certain idea on the side, you know, outside the box type thinking. I don't know because I don't see it myself, but it's possible.
I mean, at some point in the time and the future, if remote targeting holes become a thing again, it could be useful. But, you know, right now I'm not seeing it. I mean, it's great. It's great for if sloths were really still a thing in the game. It would be great for against sloths, but I haven't really seen that sloths are a thing anymore. So we got so much anti-sloth stuff. It's like, it just seems pointless to get that to be an anti-sloth thing. But we also got the Ray Scattergun 2. You know, this is the second one of these scatterguns that we've had. The other one we had way back with, was that the Pride that it came out with?
Yeah, it sure was.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a pretty good scattergun. Does 166,850 damage. A multi-shot of 5. Does the same submerged damage as it does surface damage. 125 spread, range of 89. Splash of 6, projectile speed pretty decent at 565. The really crappy thing, in my opinion, about this gun though, is it's a conqueror only. So, like, if you were doing a scattergun siren, you had hexes on it, and you wanted to upgrade to raise scatterguns, you can't. So, I mean, that's pretty crappy in my opinion.
Yeah, I went and actually tried to do it already, and just didn't notice right off the bat. I did think it would be Conquer Defender, but
I mean, quite honestly, another thing that would keep you from doing it though is the chunky weight. The 1,850 tons.
It is.
I guess that's how they're going to get around people using tier 8 weapons on tier 7 hulls, is they're just going to make them weigh entirely too much.
Yeah, that weight restriction. I mean, I was just going to throw it on to see what I could come up with on numbers. I didn't know, but I just found out immediately you couldn't do it.
Yeah. Then we got the Arbalest 2. Let's see. The original Arbalest we got back with Crusaders, I do believe. Yeah.
Yes.
So this one just, furthers on the premise of that. Projectile speed is 350. Accuracy is 100% accurate. Range of 50. Damage is 54,864. It's only one salvo, so that's all in one projectile for those of you trying to figure out your math of what you need to break deflections. Has an 8-second reload, which if you put this on your Dread and you just creep through bases going real slow, stopping at each individual turret, you really don't need to put a bunch of reload on your Dread because of its built-in thing, but we'll talk more about that more later. You got a 16.5 thousand roughly wall damage, 82.2 thousand building damage, and you got the pierce range on this one of 75. So I don't know. It definitely seems like a pretty good gun, especially when you pair it up with the Dreadnought. Because I do believe right now that those two together have one of the longer ranges in the game.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at 117. So with a scope.
Yeah. Do you want to go over the hull, Ross?
Sure. Yeah, the Breacher Dreadnought is a Conqueror hull, but it is not a mortar hull like the name and the past Dreadnought of the olden days. It is a ballistic and a corrosive hull, and so you're going to get a ballistic and corrosive boost for that. You're going to get a little slightly ballistic damage. You get a boost of 85% and ballistic range 75%. Now corrosive range is 23.6%, and then corrosive damage is also 85% increase. So those are some really, those are some good numbers as far as damage as I'm concerned. It looks really nice in that aspect. And then in defense, it's just it is amazing. It's got the best deflection stats so far in the game, as we'd assume, being a tier 8. It does concussive, explosive right around 70,000. Corrosive is down at 56,284. Ballistic is the highest. It'd be what we expect as being that's ballistic hull, and that's at 80,000. It has a 72,000 penetrative deflections, also radiation deflection. And like the all turret, like all tier 8 Conqueror hulls moving, or tier 8 Conqueror hulls moving forward, they do have the built-in turret defense of 45%, and we've covered that each week. But I want to make that clear out there. I've seen some people adding in and making builds, and I want them, stress that fact that it does have a built-in turret defense.
Yeah, and that's not only on tier 8 stuff going forward. 7 stuff currently too.
Right. Okay. So I mean, so that is something. Now, if you do choose to use a turret defense special, it does not stack percentage-wise. It will go with the greater also. So don't think you're just not going to be touched if you throw one on. Now, the combat speed on this hull is 28, turn speed 45, and map speed's 50. Now, what this has is the special abilities are what the great part. And this one here it's just a duplicate of Aura Capital 1, and it does only affect a friendly ship. So what it does is increases. Let me find out how. Let's see how often recharge. Okay, well, when it overloads type thing, it has a combat stat. When if you stop, as far as I know, uh, the accuracy increases to 100 but plus 100%, and this is where the ballistic reload and corrosive reload grows wild when stationary. It's said to transfer its energy from the engine to the power, the weapons, and they go to 400%. That's correct, 400%. That's the greatest increase we've seen in the game for a reload, as far as I'm aware. And
Yeah, I think the only exception to that being Gatling guns once they get wound up.
but like a whole, yeah, okay, you're correct.
Yeah, but for as far as on a whole, yes, I do believe you're correct.
And then the spread is, if you're using the corrosive weapon, the spread is decreased by 99% at this time, which is just, that's just like a laser beam, boom. So this effect is an amazing effect. It's a great boost for the hull. In my opinion, this hull is the new top of the game. It's going to be hard to stop, but it's possible with its 117 range.
There were a few things about it that surprised me a little bit. I was surprised that it was ballistic and corrosive. I thought it would have been like ballistic and explosive, kind of like a combination of the original Dread and then the Dread X. But I was surprised to see the corrosive one there.
I agree. It was a strange combination, but it's something that's interesting, at least. Being that the ranges don't match, it's not always the same, in my opinion. So, so it's not.
I was a little interested too that corrosive deflection was actually its lowest deflection value, considering it puts out corrosive damage. Normally, it's these holes and historically have been really strong in whatever they put out and then weak in other areas. But this one is actually its weakest area is one of the areas that it puts out. So that was kind of interesting in my opinion.
I agree. I expected that to be actually match the ballistic number stat, just stat for stat, and it does not. It does for damage,
Yeah.
It's just not.
I mean, it comes with some pretty high deflection numbers. I mean, you're looking at pretty much almost 72K across the board, except for ballistic is 80 and explosive is 74, and then you got corrosive down there at 56. So I don't know. It's interesting. Which version are you going to go with? Are you going to go with? Are you going to go with Are you going to go with the ballistic version, or are you going to go with scatter version?
Oh well, I actually I would like to go with the ballistic version, but I have accidentally already. I have one that's not. So I have a one. Sorry about that. Empty hull. That's well. Let me kill this for a second here.
I think somebody wanted to join in the show with us there. Ross will be right back momentarily. So yeah, I know I myself, I built a scattergun version just because anybody who knows me knows I'm an impatient guy, and I'm not a big one for trying to take stuff out of range. I just want to I'm that guy who my fun I have in the game is trying to find those builds that can just go all willy nilly and do whatever they want to with taking as little damage as possible. That's where I get my fun in the game, is in design. So
okay, I have the dog duty for the Thanksgiving Day, so I have all the relatives. I have relatives' dogs, so yeah.
I was gonna say I thought that dog sounded a little small of a yip to be your dog.
they're outside, so we're doing okay for right now. And but yeah, not accidentally. I have 2 semi-built so far of these, one of each. So they both have their benefits. In all honesty, I like both attributes. Both weapons are good. I like the range a little bit more than I like the scatter gun, but that's just my own personal preference. And that's about it. I mean, the ARB, I guess I was confused when I first saw the Arbalest 2 attack on what I was visually seeing. And I thought I was visually seeing the cannon shoot over walls. Templar helped me out and confirmed that I'm not seeing that. And in all honesty, I'm not. It's piercing. And so it's piercing that front wall, I guess. And because of that piercing ability and going through and shooting fleets, you know, your guard behind the wall, and it actually leaves the wall intact if the build does not have a very high building damage. So it can be a visually strange thing to witness. So I wanted people to be aware when they see they're being shot at and their walls are still there, that is possible.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, I think building damage is actually high. It's the wall damage that's not high.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, the Pierce is something we haven't seen for quite a while, so I could definitely see where people would get visually confused about what the hell was going on there. I mean, it's got a hell of a Pierce range, though, at 75.
Yes.
Let's see, what else do we have in this event? Hull-wise, there's a whole bunch of hulls. You can also get the Poseidon's Vanguard. You can get the Revenant. You can get the Impact Cruiser, the Witch Doctor, the Ifrit. And all these, like, if they weren't at 5 before, I do believe they're all up at 5 now, at least. You can get the Curator, the Warden, the Poseidon's Mauler. Well, obviously the flags aren't up at 5, but I'm talking about the regular ones. You can get Siren, Missile Storm Cruiser, Onslaught. So yeah, all that's tier 7 stuff, pretty much. You can go back and backtrack on that. I think the only thing that I didn't see in here was what they don't have the Highlander Curator, and they don't have the Poseidon's Hurricane. And is there anything else? Oh, the High Guard Warden. Yeah, so it looks like none of the defensive flagships, just the regular defensive hulls. There's quite a bit of hulls there for you to choose from. Weapons wise, you got a bunch of those too. Pretty much a lot of the tier 7 stuff. You got the no, my scroll doesn't want to work. There we go. You got the Arbalest, you got the Ray Scattergun and the 2XQ mortar, the Wildfire Thrower, like all the dual countermeasures, the Hex Scattergun. You can also pick up the Zip Drive, the Ballistic Calibrator, and Missile Precision System. All of those are good. All the scopes and the all the scopes and the forces are in here. So I know a lot of us passed on them before because you would get like a 9% range with the scopes, but you'd lose 35% of your damage. And we're like, well, that's fucking shitty. Or, so like, yeah, so if you pass on those, you can go back and get them now. The forces are really good too because they only add 15% now, but that 15% now is a lot more important than the 35% was before, in my opinion, anyway.
Yes.
Because before you weren't going to break deflection even with that 35%, but now you're pretty much breaking deflections without the 15%. So the 15% is just going to make you chew through them even faster.
I think you're breaking deflections with some scope.
Yeah, I agree. Turret wise, of course, you got a bunch of the tier 7 turrets: the Halo, the Howie, the Blunderbuss, the Deathscythe, the Cryo Adder, the Draconian Scatter Turret, Axiom, the UAV, the Gargoyle, Depth Charge, the Javelin, Executioner 2, Vultures, Pyroclastics, Aftermath, Phlogisons, Catastrophic, Cold Snaps, and Serbs. I know me personally, I want to pick up at least one more Cold Snap, I think. Like, is there any the turrets you plan on grabbing, Ross, that you didn't have already?
I have them all, except for I think I'd probably, pick up a couple extra executioners because I don't think that I've had the availability to pick up a total of 8 then. right?
Yeah.
And that's, but I don't know. I don't have a need for that many, at least. So I don't know if I think, in all honesty, in my I'm good on turrets. But I like to see that a list like this. I know it's hard to go over and review and share on pages and that because it's so huge, but it's a good thing in the game, in my opinion, when I see um, the prize list like this in events. I don't, regardless of what event, monthly, anytime. The prize list, huge prize lists where people can catch back up and get things is always good, in my opinion.
Some of the other things they had, of course, the big outpost gun that we already talked about. My opinion sucks. Don't get it unless you actually can get the points very easily. All the overlays, yeah, well, not all of them, but the concussive one and the penetrating one. Some of your panels for your bases and for your base turrets, like the compound panel E, the alloy panel XM. Some of the stuff that we haven't seen for a while, like the that's all, folks. Frontline platforms EU. The walls like the hoplite wall, the unstable magnetic zone. Yeah, they just have quite a plethora of things to choose from. And then down here, and for better or for worse, you guys, this one's totally on me that they put this on here in the event. Because I guess it was yesterday morning, I think it was, I had a long talk with Salty about how much of a pain in the ass it is to get resources right now with all this refactoring, refit and stuff going on. So I said something to him about, well, why don't you put some res packs in the event store, for a really low price? Because that will, number one, it'll drive up your participation in your event some. And number two, it'll give people an alternate way to get like large chunks of res at a time. So, so they apparently must have thought that was a good idea. And I thought, personally, I don't know about the rest of you, but I thought the pricing on it was very reasonable at only 500 points for 80 million res.
Right.
So it just gave you another option of a kind of quick way to get res. And I thought it was a good thing for me to put in there. I don't know what anybody else thinks, but I thought it was a great thing. As you can see, I've already bought some of them. Ross, I think you said you bought them all at this point.
Yeah, they're used up, and it's a good thing, in my opinion. If you're wanting to try out the OP gun, let's face it, filling up to complete 900 across the board is a task in itself. So I chose to just fill up using that, and it's possible. And then I just did the OP gun that way. So that is a route, an option for those people that wish to do that. I enjoyed that feature, and I was happy that you told me it was there. I didn't see it, and then they added it, and you told me about it, and I was very pleasantly surprised. So
yeah, I mean, like, quite honestly, I chose to fight the battle that I knew I could win. I would have rather said, well, hey, why don't you just like increase the payout of all the salvages by like 1,000% for the next, whatever. But I knew I wasn't going to win that battle. So instead of wasting my breath on a battle that I wasn't going to win, I figured I would choose a battle that could potentially help people on a battle that I could win, So that's how we ended up with those. So you can either thank me or hate me for it, but there you go. So that's pretty much the event in a nutshell. Do we want to talk about dread build? Let's build a dread. Let's open up the shipyard and build dread. Well, let's go. Hang on. We're gonna clear this. All right, we're gonna build a dread. Do we want to build a? Well, obviously, I'm not going to be actually build the dread because, as you can see, I don't even have res enough to build a blank hull. But do we want to do a scattergun dread or do we want to do a ballistic dread? I'll leave it up to chat. You guys in chat, I'll give you a minute for this to catch up, and you can tell me which version you want to see, and whatever gets the most votes, that's what we'll do. Feel like I should be playing the Jeopardy theme song right about now.
Bing, 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 bing.
As an offense,
Scatter.
Arb, ballistic. All right, so we got 2 ballistics and 1 scatter. All right, we're tied. We're about scatters ahead. Dynamite, you can't say both. You got to pick one or the other, man. And Neil, don't be voting twice, buddy. I catch that shit. I catch that shit.
Yeah.
All right, so it definitely seems that well, ballistic was winning, and now we're back to catching up again. All right, I think ballistic is definitely winning. So we want to go ballistic, I guess. Ah, shit. We still got time. We might even do both. Who cares? All right. So the first thing, obviously, we're going to do is put a bunch of arbs on it. All right. So what engine do you think, Ross?
I like the strike system just because there's overall speed.
The problem I find with strike system, though, is it tends to interfere with projectile speed on some of the stuff that you get from other items. You know what I mean?
I agree.
So I'll tell you what, for the time being, we might go back and switch this, but for the time being, let's just go with speed system 5 or 6 or whatever the hell we're up to now. All right, now I know I myself, I'm a big fan, and anything you think should be different, Ross, as we're doing this, feel free to tell me. I'm a big fan of ballistic calibration. It gives you 70% ballistic damage, 45% accuracy, and 75% projectile speed.
Yeah, for sure. That's a special I would for sure put on the hull.
Okay. Let's see. When it comes to your range extenders, we got a couple different versions. We can go with augmented ballistic armaments, or we can go with nuclear accelerator or nuclear accelerator 2. I know some people like, and this is where it can get kind of tricky because I know some people like augmented ballistic armament, but if you want to use autoloader of any 1, 2, or 3, you don't necessarily, it won't stack with this. But at the same point in time, if you're doing the snail crawl version as opposed to a blitz version, you don't really necessarily maybe need the autoloader. So I don't know. What do you think, Ross? Augmented ballistic or nuke accelerator?
I think I'd go. I don't know if I'd use the augmented ballistic armament, but I like it. It's still not a bad special if that's one of your options.
Okay, yeah. So we go with nuke accelerator instead.
Because
that's really your only other choice, right?
Let me see here. I don't think I even used it.
Well, you have to have something to increase your range.
Yeah, then I did go to augment, but I think I did get it to stack with something, didn't I? Yeah, I did not. I didn't choose. I definitely go then augmented. And
okay.
Yeah. I like the accuracy issue. It's a good special.
So I guess at this point you probably want to start looking a little bit at reload because even doing the snail crawls. Yeah, I can't talk today. The crawling at a snail pace version, you're still going to want some reload. So would we want the CMCR reloader at this point? Do you think?
Well, that's where okay, so now Yeah, I would just say yes. Now, when I'm looking back through my options on when instead also we didn't throw in the mix instead of augmented thing, we left out cannon systems.
Because it doesn't stack with ballistic calibrator.
Okay.
All right, so we got 2 specials left. Obviously, you're going to need some kind of anti-pinch stuff, huh?
Yeah.
So I would say, in my case, I would have to go with Agility 4 because I don't have any more. Well, I have 1 shielded electronic shielded circuitries left, but I know where that's going. So I would probably end up going with Agility.
I agree. Agility is a good one.
You got 1 special left. So what do we do with that 1 special slot?
Me personally, I'm going scope.
Scope or siege targeting would probably be the 2 choices at this point. So you say scope?
Yeah.
Oh, that's the wrong scope. Yeah, putting penetrative scope on a ballistic hull is not going to help. Pro tip, guys. Pro tip. That's radioactive. Where the hell is the ballistic scope? Did I not?
I think it's down further.
Did I not claim it yet? Okay, I didn't claim it yet. I'm getting that during this event. So okay, so that's what it would look like for specials. Now take a look at chat, Ross, and tell me how bad they disagree with our choices.
Okay. Cuttlefish is no autoloader 2 or 3. No verbose punch drive systems is a possibility. If as a hitter, Shane says go with targeting. If as defender, go with scope. And no Favos just does not like. But in my opinion, and if go as a hitter, I would go with scope and not with a targeting. As a hitter, I would go with scope because it's unreal, the 117 range. And the piercing effect is even greater, and the walls mean nothing. So it's if you can drive and creep up on, it's amazing. You know, so it just is it's a different style. What you're planning on doing. If you're planning on rushing a base, then I wouldn't suggest the scope for sure.
All right. So, do we want to take a look at the scatter version?
Yeah.
I know the scatter version. I'm a little bit more comfortable with that version because I've already put one of those together. So, obviously, the first thing you're going to want to do is come over here and get your scatter guns.
I'm gonna holler at the dog. 1 sec. Be right back.
Okay. All right, now here you're more than welcome to use strike system because there's really not much else that you like. That's one of your better engines, and that's a good one in my opinion. Special slots, I want to try to get the corrosive canister 2 in there because that gives me an increase of 66.8 corrosive damage. Yours will be a little bit higher if you have it fully retroed. Of course, then at that point, that puts me down to where I'm going to want to put scatter system on as opposed to roaring barrel system, just because you want to get all these stacks going up, and that'll give you 2 more multi-shot and your reload of 50%. Then I know I myself I put a garrison battery on, not garrison battery, but assault battery for the extra 25% more skirmish corrosive damage rather. Then I also put on siege targeting just for more extra damage is always good. And then that left me with 1 slot that I had to put an anti-stun thing on, so I went with agility system again.
Yeah, that looks great.
So I don't know. Chat, what do you think about that build? I know this is the build that I've gone with for the scatter version. If you wanted to go even faster, you can put like Magnus 3 on here too if you wanted. I think Magnus 3 will give you, what's that combat speed give you? 64% combat speed. Well, no Phobos must be way far behind because he's like scattergun version. It's like that's what we're showing right now. No Phobos. We've been showing for a little bit.
Okay, so that's combat speed 64. You know, that's decent right there. I don't. You're not going to turn very well, but I don't know.
Well, I mean, you know, you still have a 45%. You still have a 45 turn, and that's not being a legendary.
Yeah, that's not bad.
As you gain rank, your turn's going to go up. So it's not like you're at a huge disproportion, you know, where you have 64 combat speed and like a 10 turn speed, you know.
Right. Where you're just ramming in walls.
Yeah, as far as armor setup, because I know people are asking about armor setups, that's going to be kind of something up to each individual to determine on their own, you know, because it all depends. Like, I'm still not fully fleshed out on the numbers yet at this point, so I don't know what our minimum numbers for deflections that we have to have, so I can't really answer you that. And plus, you know, I need to leave a little bit of room for you guys to go out and then have to do a little bit of exploring on your own. You know, I can't hand feed you everything.
Well, and let's be honest, to give out a set of the PvP armors on this hull, and is will not work in every base, and in some bases will look like it's a magic ship, and in some it won't work, because it's just the way it is, and the damage styles and the possibilities that people could have set up right now. So you in some bases you're going to have more missiles than others. In some bases you are going to have to have more corrosive. It's just how it is.
Now I know you said something interesting in the pre-show. Didn't you say that war plating for some reason works really well on this?
Well, it did. It does for, you know, the splash attributes. If you don't have the other, you know, the specials, if you're trying to use it in that aspect, it does. But it's same as, you know, like whatever, you know, thrusters.
Let's just take a look at what war plating does to repair time, though.
It kills it.
Like if I would go like all war plating 3, for example.
Well, same as in the previous server, you know, how war plating was being used. It made fleet repairs being it was 128 coins to hit your base. Remember?
Yeah. Well, no, that was but he hit me 4 times, so it was 128 coins between 4 preps.
Yeah, but still 128 coins to hit your base, and he didn't get it, right?
Correct, he did not.
Right. So that's what that does to your fleet, in all honesty. That's what it just, look at the repair time.
Yeah, 3 hours. 3 hours, as opposed to if we would put all the highest deflection armors on.
Well, and be honest, you can't. You'll get smoked if you just try to do something like that.
Well, yeah, but I'm just looking at the difference in repair times. I want to take a look at that.
Right.
There's the there it is. We can't even put a CTC03 on because we don't even have that yet. So let's take a look and see what the repair time is now. 1 hour, 45 minutes. So there you go.
You know, yeah. It doubled.
Yeah, it'd be almost double per boat. So do we want to take a look and see how we would do a defensive arbalist one, different than what we would do an offensive one?
So you just have it, sure.
Go off scatterguns and on the cannons. That's the first step. Okay, so in this one, foreshore, 100% foreshore, you are going to unscope. Which I keep trying to put penetrative on, but you need ballistic. So I know for me, I would also, I think in this version, ballistic calibrator is much more important in this version. Because accuracy, hitting oncoming ships is going to be a big factor. Which there again, you're going to want to go with the augmented ballistic armament because it gives you more accuracy as well. So let's see, what else do we want to put on here, Ross?
Well, you've got, if you're going for only reload, you could go for reload, right? I mean,
so do we want to go over to the researchable stuff? No, because we can't put
that. But you could go the new combo,
yeah. It's a real shame that autoloader doesn't stack with
there you go.
So then this is where it gets kind of weird and hinky. Like you're gonna have to have something on for anti-stuns. So obviously you're gonna have to go with agility. And then I myself generally for the last special, I'm just looking at pumping out as much damage as I can. So I tend to go with just ballistic upgrade to get another 10% on my ballistic.
Yeah, look at your damage. That's pretty high. So
as far as armor, I don't know. I would still say that's going to be a tough one. Because it all depends on what's hitting you. I mean, I would definitely say you're going to want some MC plate. How hard? I wonder how high we should go in the ballistic deflection now. Now, see, a place like this, oops. A place like this, in my base card, I may choose to go with war plating on something like this for that splash reduction.
So, I don't think for me I am. I mean, but in my guard, I'm concerned about different. I really am concerned about the ballistic prep.
I think there is a piercing special, but like what I've been seeing lately is people seem to be coming in with like one boat at a time almost to take out stuff, and then after that dies, they come in with another. So piercing special in your defense, I'm not sure that that's really like a great idea. I mean, I don't know. Hang on one second. I need to stop sharing screen for a minute. Carry on for a second, Ross. I need to check.
No, but that being said, I didn't think about it could have a certain application where if a player had a channel where it was directly facing towards that hull for quite a distance, and where people might chain a fleet through or leave a ship there to be targeted by a certain turret as a decoy, that piercing effect could be really taken advantage of to wipe out that decoy that's assisting that attack. So I do think piercing could be used in its right application for those people that are aware of how their base totally works. My I'm into this situation right now where I got a 1 day old base, 2 days maybe, or 1 day and a half. I'm not familiar with. I've been hit once. It's going to take a while for me just to redo every. I mean, I have everything. I thought I had it redone, but it's a constant redo and in a speed redo until the December 3rd token reclaim. So I suggest people. Well, they can't use the tokens on that haul, but just try out as many things as you can in that period, in our period that we have to use these tokens.
Now, see, now here's something interesting to note too. Once you have this at legendary, just by sitting still, because the base reload of the Arbalist is 8, correct?
Yeah.
So just by sitting still, getting that 400% reload, and being at max rank, that automatically takes you down to 0.4 reload. So in theory, you would not even need to have any of the reload specials on, in theory. So you could actually, in theory, either at this point add the piercing special that you guys are talking about, or you can put another ballistic upgrade on, either one of the two. I'm actually not seeing the piercing special. Am I missing it?
I don't know. I would just think damage.
Yeah, that's kind of what I would think too. So at that point, then that pumps you over $1 million on your actual damage number at the top. Now, of course, you would have to factor that and break that down into damage per projectile per cannon or whatever. Which there's, well, I'm not going to sit here and do all the math for it, but all this stuff just gives you ideas on some directions that you can go with it. And of course, there's other options you can do. Armors, whatever armor you want to use is totally optional by what you think you're going to get hit on the most. I foresee lots of dreads running around though, so I would say you try to go high on your corrosive and your ballistic for sure. One of the other ones you're probably going to see a bunch of is the Revenants with the Havoc Gatlins on them. So you want to go pretty high on your concussive as well.
You just want to think about what can outrange you, and that plays a lot in effect on which type of armors that you need to apply to your hull. In my opinion, it doesn't do you any good to have armor on that if you don't get hit by that weapon style. So always think about that, and ranges play a huge part in it.
Yeah. So I guess we can, for the time that we're going to be left on, we can talk about some of the key highlights of the refactor, things we didn't know were going to be happening. Like, for example, the fact that turrets now cost titanium instead of uranium to upgrade. That was a not happy that didn't get communicated on my part. I was not happy about that. I mean, I think, and because I had a big talk with Salty about that too. He's like, well, what's the actual problem? I'm like, well, number one, it caught us off guard. Nobody likes to be caught off guard by anything that is kind of that significant of a change. And I'm like, and number two, titanium for people, the only people that really worried about zero-in titanium fleets were people who were already into PvP. I'm like, but your PvEers, even though they don't engage in PvP per se, they still have to engage in PvP to a certain degree, which is defending their base. So they don't really have a titanium fleet that's zoomed in for, optimal taking a little bit of damage. I'm like, so the biggest problem comes into where you take a lot more damage to farm titanium than you do uranium. So I'm like, if you can get me to a point where I'm taking the same amount of damage with my mana cores on the top end fleet of titanium as to the amount of damage I'm taking on the top end uranium with my bats, I wouldn't have near as much of an issue with it. I'm like, but I take a fair amount more damage farming titanium than I do uranium, and that's kind of why I have an issue with it.
No,
And right now, aside from rolling crews, like, do we really even use uranium for anything? Because he said like part of it was supposed to ease the pinch on needing uranium, and I'm like, well, other than rolling crews, I don't really use uranium for anything.
right. And in fact, no, I use more titanium already, but even the Hyperion takes titanium. So I wasn't happy, but again, I'm along the same lines. I'm not the absolutely only reason is because my titanium, well, because my uranium fleet takes less damage, exactly in the same boat as you. So, yeah, I will have to redo a fleet, or a target will have to change, and so in it just costs me more, is all, and that's why I'm just not happy with that. It's not. Any issue with the type of target or the style of target or anything like that. It's just the payout or versus damage.
Yeah, so like I said, I'm trying to work on about maybe getting the titanium targets to where they do, roughly the same amount of damage as what the uranium targets do. We'll see how well that goes over, but I think they're at least willing to listen, because so we'll see what happens. I hope they don't reverse it and be like, oh, you want them to do the same amount of damage? Okay, we'll raise the amount that the uranium targets do. Because
Right.
be like, yeah, people be throwing rocks at me from wherever they live. It'll suck if that happens.
You said you wanted them equal.
All right. And Doomsday finally made it with us. What's up, Doom?
Hey, how's it going, Evan?
Good. How about you, man?
I'm making it the best I can.
There you go. So, what are you thinking of this refactor so far?
Well, so far it's you know, I actually I was pretty blessed, to be honest, and it's Thanksgiving, so I might as well say I'm thankful for it because my just coming back, I had a lot of blanks and just partial builds just because I wasn't for sure what to do or didn't have the specials at the time. And so, honestly, they hooked us up, I think. You know, I got my Witch Doctor and Poseidon Hurricane fleet set up. I'm working on unlocking revenants, and I got one dread from the event. So I took my the witch doctors out and leveled 4 bases, and then went into fifth, and with just you know probably 65% damage on with 2 ships left, and got my ass handed to me in that one, but it was a lot of fun.
I mean, I do want to, and I want to bring up the sheer amount of tokens that they gave us. Like, I don't know what you guys got. Me, Conquerors, I got 81 7-day tokens. We figured it up. I think that came up to like 567 days worth of build time.
Yeah.
For Defenders, I got 17 7-day tokens, which ends up being 119 days worth of build time. And then for Structure, I don't even know when the Structures. Let me scroll down here and see if I can see it. I know I spent one, so I got 65 days worth of 7-day tier 7 turret structure build tokens. Wow. I'll be totally honest. They went way far and beyond what I thought they were going to do as far as the amount of tokens that we got. I was shocked, and I was shocked for once by Kix's Eye in a good way.
Yeah. To me, it was kind of like an appreciation gift, and I was blown away. I got 38 Conqueror tokens and 9 Defender tokens, and I don't think I got any structure build tokens, which is what I need.
All right.
But I did have some level 9s and turrets, and stuff, but I don't guess I got them. So.
I see Victoria in chat's asking if we have a time limit to use the tokens. Yes, you do have to use those tokens by December 3rd. So that doesn't end when the 48-hour 70% reduction thing ended, which has that actually ended now?
I don't think so. But I wanted to, that I did notice that 70% reduction was not everything, was not in resources.
Yeah, it was. It affected the hull itself and weapons on the hull. Armors and specials are still the same.
Yeah.
So yes, it does look like the 70% is still going on currently. So make sure you take advantage of that for as long as you can. Lord only knows when they'll realize, oh, we didn't flip that switch yet. Hopefully they're not watching when I said that.
I've been out well most of the week and even today, but as long as they can leave it on, that'd be appreciated. Because I know a lot of people have been out and about for the holidays, so they didn't really get to take advantage of it. Yeah. So I don't think it's going to break the economy of the game as bad as they thought, especially with everything going on.
Well, yeah, because let's be honest, the economy of the game is starting already to move on to the tier 8 stuff.
Yeah.
So, I guess one of the other big things is, the fact that we get the 3rd portal. We can upgrade our portals to level 3 now. That was a pretty big thing. Boy, that takes a lot of titanium to do that. 425,000, and gosh, over 900 million zithium. That's just craziness there.
And let's be honest, if people don't have their warehouses all the way maxed out, they won't even be able to hold this. So they're going to need to do their warehouses first.
That's me.
Yep.
Yeah, I have to do at least one more warehouse before I can hold that much titanium. The amount of power that you get upgraded on your portal, though, is like craziness. It all goes from 36,500 way up to 65,000. You can actually put 2 real turrets on either end of your portal at this point.
Right.
Once you get it upgraded. I know me, I slacked. Apparently I just didn't upgrade anything other than OP11 when OP11 came out, so I actually have to upgrade my dock at some point, which I swear to God that I did, but apparently not.
Oh man, don't even talk. I got my dock upgraded, and the other morning I was going hunting, and it was I don't know, 5 o'clock or something, and I went out and did the Mega Mayhem. I got some I think 4 hours of structure tokens, and so I went to my shipyard that was going to level 6, and I used 2 of them and dropped my phone, and when I picked it up, the fucking thing was stopped, and I was just like, oh damn.
Oh man.
I had 2 days and 6 hours, so I used 2, so that would have been 2 days, 4 hours left.
Did you send a ticket?
I did, but it's still open. I don't think they answered it, but it's it's my fault.
After the show, give me the ticket number and I'll see what I can do about getting it through there.
But it was my fault. But like I said, it was early in the morning. I hadn't even had my coffee yet, and I play on a freaking cell phone. So,
well, I mean, dropping your phone isn't really your fault, though, kind of. You know what I mean? Dropping your phone and having that cancel it. It'd be one thing if you were half asleep and you hit the button to cancel it, but dropping your phone and having the pressure of it hitting the cancel button, that's totally different.
Yeah. But I mean, it is what it is. If I got to do it again, it's no biggie. I mean, I don't guess it's shit. I mean, it sucks, but whatever.
We'll see what we can do about that.
The bonus thing for those phone players, though, in the refractor, we can discuss that, is the no sniping is in effect. We didn't mention that, so that's a huge thing for those HQ app players. Well, and it's a huge thing for all those people in the game also, but so it's a big change.
I actually felt comfortable being on the map for once.
I know I did see that they were having memorials around some known sniper bases and putting all their PvE fleets around their base, the sniper's base. You know, have a little memorial for them because they couldn't snipe anymore.
That's great.
I saw that as well. Yeah, I thought it was hilarious. And then, you know, I'm in the middle of a sniping alliance, and so I went from, you know, the comms from ha 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 snipe 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 to the whole sector's got fleets out. It's pretty funny, you know. It's just.
I just wish people would have put as much effort into the lowering repair time battle as what they did the fleet sniping battle. Because guess what? Yes, your fleets can't be sniped anymore, so they can't be killed from PvP means. But guess what? When that fleet dies from any other means, it's still going to cost you like 18 hours to repair. You know.
But
I think, just my personal opinion, people chose to fight the wrong battle there. But yeah, it is what it is.
yeah, in my opinion, it's a solution for the HQ app players and that only. You know, because it wasn't really a. In my opinion, I don't think it's fair to be attacked and not be able to defend, and that was able to occur from the HQ app. So that needed to be addressed. But I don't know about.
Well, I mean, but let's be honest. Your chore fleet couldn't defend at all against a conqueror fleet anyway.
No, right.
No matter what. Yeah. But yeah, I just think the repair time battle should have been fought as opposed to the sniping battle.
Well, I'm just hoping it still continues. Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. The repair times are still just high. Yeah, you know, it's still a little expensive.
Yeah, they're you know, like where I'm still building and having to deal with, you know, those kind of repair times, like with this event, basically the only thing I can hit is the bat rate target because you know, adding in the time for the mana cores, and then I just have a couple of razors, so they probably wouldn't even finish it. So, you know, it'd just be, I can't even get a set of across the board of anything, so on any tier, which is kind of sucks. But you know, the way I see it is, when I'm in a situation where I can't, you know, afford to spend money or whatever in the game or whatever, I just look at it as I'm not going to be pissed off about it. I'm just going to do what I can, the best I can, and you know, I did like I think 5 or 6 of the bat rate targets before I needed to repair, or before I put them in. It was like 12 hours. So I mean, 12 hours for a free grade. I mean, I can't complain too much.
Right. So, was there anything else once the refactor became live that caught people off guard that they weren't expecting to see? I know the switch over to titanium from uranium was a big one for me.
I know that Vinny and Comms has mentioned that there's a couple of targets that maybe on the map have been altered a little bit. Also in the refactor, that the 95 mega convoy for those players that were using the KDs in the past, taking like 8 minutes damage, basically nothing, are now taking over an hour. And so something's not working with something in that, or something's been changed. And then I've heard that also on another target, but I just don't know offhand. And
I know I heard it for for a certain level bracket for the people with the daily of Mega Mayhem, that now apparently they can't kill the turrets anymore with the fleets that they had been using before. But I think it was only for like the lower level bracket version of it, because if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, but I think there might be 2 different brackets of Mega Mayhem, and it seemed like some people who were doing it before very easily now can't kill the turrets, and that the other people haven't seen any kind of difference. So
yeah, I thought I saw something about like missile fleets not being able to kill them. I know I took my Skyfires in and they went just fine. So
right, I just don't know if we have the same, yeah, like Damnation just mentioned. I don't know if we have just a different tier a different set. You know, if we're hitting the same target that level 60 or whatever level player is, you know, I don't know where that line is. I'm not quite sure that we all were hitting the same target, in my opinion.
So, yeah, I know as far as talking about targets on the map changing, though, I'm taking a good bit more damage in the titanium targets than what I had been. You know, because the level 45 titanium target, I tend to hit a lot of them just because they're super easy and you can get a lot of res out of them. And I was not going to originally say that. I totally forgot. Now I'm going to have to fight with all the people in my sector over those. But anyway, but yeah, I've noticed that now I'm getting like a whole bunch of damage out of those that I didn't used to get.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm an auto titanium player also, and I'm picking up a little more damage. I'm not sure which numbers they're from because I've been in such need for titanium that my police have really been working overtime, so I've just been hitting anything and everything.
And you know, coming back and you know, having to build everything and then have it switch. You know, I was able to get uranium, you know, fairly well, a lot more manageable than anything else. Now I could get titanium on the 85 glowing nav relays with the Skyfire fleet, and you know that was totally manageable. And you know, it took a little bit. You know, you get 25,000 each time off of them. So, but to have it switched now, it's just another kind of hold up a little bit. It's kind of like the governor on a school bus. I feel like I can't go past 55 sometimes.
Right. And I can't drive 55.
Yeah.
Oh, Sammy Hagar reference for you old people out there. All right. Anyway, anything else you guys want to talk about before we wrap it up, or do we want to wrap it up?
We're going to mention the level changes going to be in effect, as some people are seeing the different levels on the map, and no, that's not a game error. For years and years and years, the levels have been capped at 129 visually on the map, and while inside players could possibly exceed that level, and so you will start to see the correct levels of people's players' bases that are above level 129 appear. I'm not. It does not appear to be a one-time release that everybody goes up to those actual levels, but I have noticed that some people are now 132s, 134s, and so forth. So I'm looking forward.
I saw Keegan last night. He was a 135 on the map.
Well, I'll be looking to show my 143 on the map when mine goes through. So
you'll be looking to show that you have more money than common sense, is what you're saying.
But I'm looking forward to it. It's been, in all honesty, look at all the levels I've gone through past 129. There's quite a few players out there, and I mean, we have the leaderboards, we have all that, but a lot of the time it takes to get to that level alone in the game is quite a thing. So it's nice to have it correct.
It'll be interesting to see who actually ends up being the highest level pirate after all this is said and done.
There's I don't know if Tuffy's base has been removed or not. That Tuffy what used to be 199.
All right.
But I don't think that there's, you know, I just don't know. Well, I'm really looking forward to it because it's always a guessing game, and below on my friends list, it's not correct. It's the order's not correct after 129, and one day you'll be above 5 people, and next day you're below everyone. So, I knew I was, you know, so I'm interested to see how that works out. And I'm happy that I really am happy that they took the time to adjust that.
Yeah, I always found that, like, say for example, on my 129s or 122s or whatever that were on my lower list, it seemed like the ones that were farthest to the right were always actually the highest level ones. and the ones that were farthest to the left are actually the lowest level ones, which seem totally ass backwards from what it should have been. But
Right.
I'm about to hit 100, so I know
Woohoo!
that's not much to many people, but I always thought, long ago when after we first, you remember we were capped at like level 30s for a long time.
Yeah.
Whatever. And it went to like 37 and then on up past that. But I always, once we started going, I was like, man, just how long will it take to get to 100? Which, if I had kept playing, I'd have, of course, been there long ago, but it's still just kind of
it takes a long time when you stop playing for a while, let me tell you.
But it's still kind of cool to see, get so close. I mean, it's just almost there, and just to have hit 3 digits, it's kind of cool.
It's a great benchmark in the game. In all honesty, it's years of gameplay to hit that. So I think it's a great thing to be proud of, and it truly is. It's a fun game that we've all spent a lot of time on. So showing off your level is nothing. I think it's cool.
I have to say it was pretty awesome though, Travis, seeing you having not played the game for like 2 years and just coming back a couple months ago and being able to get on the test server and flatten all these people who had been playing the entire time. That was pretty fucking awesome to watch.
I appreciate that. It was a lot of fun. A lot of them had some really tricky bases, and there was some pendulum swings in the stats. Kind of attacker day one day, and then defenders the next sort of deal. But being able to hit the top level players and be able to get in, on most of them. Some of them I didn't get in. I never did get in laid back. And I was one shot away from getting knuckles, man. It was awesome. We had a good laugh about that. He sunk. I just needed one shot, but it was a good time, man. So I appreciate it.
Should have used that. Should have had like a bunker buster.
I almost built an ogre, man, just to for laughs.
Right.
Like drop it because like when those first come out, they'd like decimate like the level 3, the blue level 3 turrets, the square ones, and just like take out the whole island. So
that's funny.
Or drop some daisy cutters.
Right. But yeah, it still amazed me the amount of people who still brought their egos with them to the test server though.
Yeah.
Saw some people getting kind of butthurt, man. It was kind of funny.
Yeah. Yeah, it was, especially, when, like I said, there were stat swings. So one day they would have this advantage, right? And then I was always like, nice base, good job, blah, 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 whatever. And then the next day when they kind of leveled things out and I made adjustments too to the fleet and go in, and then just a couple people didn't like it at all.
Yeah, so I was kind of watching comms of that, and I'm like, that's just funny. But anyway, all right, we're gonna wrap it up here before I start naming and shaming it because I don't want to do that. So we're gonna wrap it up here. Thanks for joining us on your Thanksgiving holiday, guys. We appreciate that. That makes us feel like we really must be giving you some kind of useful service for you to join us on the holiday. So I appreciate that. Give us a like, give us a thumbs up. Definitely, Ross and Travis, I appreciate you guys taking the time out from your holiday to be here.
Yeah, glad to be here, actually.
Likewise, man.
So, all right. Yeah, like I said, give us a like, thumbs up. Put your friends on the page if you haven't already. Till Saturday, I guess we will talk to you later. Have a good night, guys. Enjoy the rest of your holiday. Be safe out there on Black Friday. Don't get gang beaten by some little old ladies out finding like the new dolls for their grandkids or whatever. All right, later, guys.